I was at my desk, the cheap one by the window that sticks if you lean on it, when my phone rang and I saw the HR number. I thought I had mistyped a code somewhere or missed a compliance training, something annoying but fixable. Instead, I heard the soft voice they use when they're about to cut you in half. We've had a report about your performance. There are concerns that you've been slacking off. Slacking off. Me. I swear I had to catch my breath. My cheeks went hot, my heart started pounding loud in my ears. I could see my own reflection in the screen, my face like it always is at work, tired, careful, braced. I looked at the time, not even noon. I had already been at my keyboard since before sunrise. My mom needed help with her insulin. My partner left early because he had a real meeting. His words and I had walked the dog, made coffee, and sat down with my laptop while the house was still quiet and dark. I had already answered a client email that had arrived at 5. I had fixed a recurring error in our report that everyone else ignores because it doesn't show on the dashboard anyway. I had sent a draft to my team lead before my first sip of coffee, slacking off. And then HR tells me who filed the report. My coworker, Kyle. I know there's always a Kyle in these stories. I didn't want to see it at first. When he joined, I was told to onboard him because you're the most patient. It was meant as a compliment, I guess, but all I heard was dump more work on her, she won't complain. He was charming in that loud, confident way. He stood in the doorway and asked me questions that sounded like we were already old friends. He would say my name twice when he talked to me. He'd slap the desk edge and go, "Look, I'm just trying to learn from the best." The first week he brought in donuts and made everyone laugh. The second week he started asking for my files. It was little things at first. "Hey, can I peek at your monthly metrics tracker just to see the structure?" Then it was, "Can you share your client summary template," the one the VP liked. He always said it like a quick favor, like I was doing the team a solid. And I am that person. I am the one who says sure. I'm the one who builds clean templates and names tabs in plain language and leaves notes on how to use something. I'm also the one who ends up on the phone at night with my mom talking her through her meds. I am the person who remembers to pick up cat litter and take out the trash after late calls. I go to bed with my mind buzzing, then get up and do it again. Anyway, he started asking for my drafts. "Can you send me what you have so far on Phoenix?" That was the big project, the one that kept getting kicked down the road because it was messy and boring but critical, migrating our old data pipeline to a new system while keeping clients happy. I had done the dirty work. I built the mapping. I figured out which columns would break and why. I wrote the runbook and tested it by breaking it on purpose. I stayed up late with the vendor on chat while my partner rolled his eyes and shut the bedroom door. I made something that worked, not pretty but solid. Then Kyle started helping. He would come by my desk and lean on the low wall and say, "Where are we at with Phoenix?" And my stomach would tighten because what is we? I'd show him the mapping. I'd show him the draft slides I was preparing for the Monday call. He'd say, "Oh, nice, you've got the framing. Mind if I take this and polish it up so leadership sees the big picture?" He was always about big picture. The first time I thought, fine, great, I hate flashy stuff. I like quiet, clear, useful. He can do the flashy update. Then Monday came. He led the call. He spoke over me every time I unmuted. He used my words almost exactly, just louder. Clicked through my slides, changed the font, added a photo of a rocket for Phoenix taking off, and took full credit for driving this. I told myself it was okay, the work is what matters, the client wins. After the call, the VP emailed him, "Great work owning Phoenix." He forward replied with thanks, and did not include me. I only saw it because the VP CC'd me on the next ask. "Since you're leading, can you share weekly updates?" Leading. He was leading. In 2 weeks, I thought maybe I should speak up. But at home, I was already the one doing the unglamorous stuff. My mom calls me about her doctor visits. My partner complains that dinner is late and jokes that my job is emailing and vibes. I carry lists in my head that no one else sees. When you're that person, it's hard to switch it off at work and suddenly be loud. It's not natural. You keep thinking just do the work and it will show. I made a mistake. I kept giving him things. He kept taking them. He asked me to send him the Phoenix runbook so I can align leadership. He asked for my numbers for the quarterly report just to cross-check. He wanted my test scripts. He wanted my original spreadsheet because SharePoint is messing up the formatting on his end. He said, "Can you just send the raw one like the one you actually update?" And I did, because I keep things clean, because I want the team to succeed. He started setting meetings without me and then summarizing them in a way that erased me. We decided to pivot the deliverable. Who is we? He would grab my status updates and paste them into his recap without my name. He took my bullet about a client risk word for word and sent it to the director. He started calling himself Point on Phoenix. By the time the promotion cycle came around, guess who got senior analyst for driving Phoenix to completion? Guess who got a one-line email saying, "We appreciate your consistent support across teams"? He got stock options. I got one of those glass plaques that mean nothing and collect dust. He took a photo with his new laptop and posted it online with some nonsense about hustle. He nodded at me when he walked by like a king. I kept my head down. Every time I felt the heat rise in my chest, I told myself, not now. Keep a record. Keep going. Give it time and people will see. But people don't see. People see what they're shown. And Kyle was a master at the show. He would see leaders. He would use words like synergy and alignment and drive. He would book rooms and blow up Slack channels with memes at the right hour. He would say team and then take the credit. I am not team in his world. I am supply. And came the part that still makes me shake when I think about it. He reported me for slacking off. He wrote to HR that I was often offline on chat. He had screenshots of my status showing away when I was writing documentation. He said I missed meetings that he moved and didn't invite me to the ones where he used my slides. He said I was not pulling my weight. He said his promotion meant he had to cover my gaps. He included a couple of long days where I had taken my mom to her appointment in the morning and then worked late so my calendar looked weird. He said he had serious concerns and that he didn't want to throw me under the bus, but this was impacting the team. He threw me under with a smile. HR, to their credit, didn't outright accuse me. They asked for my side, but you know that tone. Innocent until proven guilty, but also we've already started the file. I sat there, my nails digging into my palm, and something in me finally snapped. I wasn't going to cry in a conference room and then go back to fixing broken things while someone else built a castle on my back. I was done being soft, because here's what I hadn't told you. For months I had been leaving a trail, not playing games. I'm not sneaky like that, but protecting myself. I had always used SharePoint and those tools properly. I knew version history shows who changes what and when. I used comments with my initials in the hidden cells of my spreadsheets, little notes like SM, double-check null values in column D. I used alt text on images in my slides with created by my name. I made sure important hands-offs were in email, not just chat. I scheduled my status updates to go to the team alias. I kept a little notebook by my keyboard where I wrote down every time I got pinged to do something real quick. I put dates, I put quotes. If Kyle asked me to ghost write a summary, can you draft this up and I'll wordsmith it? I wrote the time and what he said. I learned a trick from a friend in another department. She said, leave fingerprints. So I did. In the runbook, in the code, comments in the tab names. Not obvious, not tacky, but enough. On one of the Phoenix slides, I put a tiny dot in the exact corner of a chart image, like a pixel, so if someone screenshotted it and used it, it would still be there. In the Excel sheet, the first cell in the last hidden sheet said, built by my name month, and then I hid the sheet behind protection. If someone unhid it, we would see when. I also stopped sending raw originals. I shared through links only so there was a trace. So HR calls and I show up with my laptop and my list. I speak calmly. I breathe. I say, I'd like to share my screen. I open the Phoenix folder. I click version history. I scroll. There I am, midnight edits, early morning updates, comments with SM in the trace. There is a line from the night before Kyle's panel interview where he copied my file, renamed it, and changed the owner to himself. The metadata shows everything. I open the slide deck he presented to leadership, the one with the rocket. I show them the alt text that says, made by my name, and the note, draft, do not share. I open the PDF he sent the director. The alt text is still there because he doesn't know what alt text is. The pixel dot is still in the corner. I pull up the email where I sent the final runbook to the vendor and CC'd the team. The vendor replied, thank you, my name, this is clear, and saved our timeline. Kyle forwarded that reply to leadership and deleted my name from the chain when he did, but I kept the original. HR sits very still. They ask me to go on. I show them the chat where he asked, can you hop on and talk me through the mapping so I can present without getting into the weeds? I show them the calendar invites where he removed me. I show a fun one. This made me smile in a bitter way. The day he told me he was going to cover for me and then posted my exact sentence in the team channel as his update. I had an earlier message with me workshopping that sentence with him. Same commas, same weird phrasing, my phrasing. I show them that too. HR asks for a minute. The woman puts me on mute, or she thinks she does, and I can hear a burst of voices. When she comes back, her tone has changed. She asks me if I would be comfortable with them bringing IT in to verify the logs. I say yes. I say I want this documented. They ask me very evenly why I didn't bring this up earlier. I swallow. I say I tried to be a team player. I was raised to keep the peace, but he reported me for slacking off. He has been using my work to get promoted. He has been removing me from the record. I am done being quiet. The next day becomes a blur. IT pulls the SharePoint logs. They ask me to send them a list of files I believe were used without credit. I send them a list so long it makes me feel sick to look at it. It looks like a timeline of my evenings and early mornings. Meanwhile, the team is awkward. The air in the office feels different. People stop by to ask, you okay? One of the contractors catches my eye and says under his breath, about time. Later, he tells HR that Kyle bragged about delegating the boring stuff to me so he could move the needle. Kyle acts like nothing is wrong while the walls close in. He whistles. He calls out in the hall, morning superstar. And my stomach flips. Then he gets pulled into a room. He is in there for an hour. He comes out red-faced and stomps outside to call someone. He doesn't whistle anymore that day. I go home and heat up leftovers and sit at my kitchen table while my mom calls me to remind me that the doctor moved her appointment, and my partner asks me if the dryer is broken because his shirts are wrinkled. I feel like screaming into a towel. Instead, I fold laundry. I write down in my notebook, today, HR saw everything. I make a cup of tea and sit with the dog's head on my knee. I count my breaths. I think about how my life is full of quiet, invisible things that keep everything from falling apart, and how I am so tired of it never being seen. The following week, HR schedules a fact-finding with me, then with my manager, then with the director. It all feels rehearsed and slow, but the facts are loud. There's a message from 2 months ago where Kyle asks me to draft the QBR deck and says, I'll do the talking part. There's a set of comments on a plan where I wrote, we need to keep the old endpoint running until the new one passes tests. And he replies, good catch, will present that as our approach. And then he does, but without me. There's a morning where my team's status shows away because I was on a call with the vendor and my computer was sharing my screen. Anyone who uses the tool knows your status goes weird when you do that unless you jiggle the mouse. He had sent that screenshot to HR as proof I wasn't online. HR also looks at something I didn't know they could see. They checked the download history on my private folder right before his promotion panel. Someone accessed drafts at 2 in the morning from his machine. They compare the hash of the file he called my portfolio to one of mine. They match. He scrubbed my name from the title slide, but not the file properties. Rookie. They call him back in. I don't get to be in that one, but people talk and I can see his face. He comes by my desk an hour later and tries to smile. He says too loud, hey buddy. I look at him. He lowers his voice. Looks like there's some confusion here. I've always considered us a team. You just need to learn to self-promote. He says it like a kindness. I feel my cheeks burn again. I say, do not talk to me. Go through HR. He laughs in that fake way and walks off. The end isn't neat because real life never is. HR doesn't fire him on the spot. They put his promotion on hold. Then they put him on a performance plan the way they do for middle people they want to push out. He loops in some missing files. He starts over CCing everyone. He sends an apology email to me and the team that is full of phrases like miscommunication and ownership gaps. He says he is committed to sharing credit. He does not admit anything. The email is so careful it makes me rage. But it doesn't matter. The director calls me into a real office, not a glass room with a wobbly chair, and she says, I'm sorry. She says we should have seen this sooner. She says you've been carrying more than your share. She says words like compensation adjustment and revised title and project lead. I sit there and nod and I want to cry, but I don't. I thank her. I also ask for a week off, and this time I take it. In the team meeting, the VP thanks me by name for shepherding Phoenix. He says, I also want to be clear about our values around credit and transparency. There is silence. Kyle stares at the table. People glance at me and then away. Someone sends me a DM that says, finally, with clapping hands. Another person I hardly talk to says, I didn't realize it was that bad. I'm sorry. My partner at home hears about this and says, see, being the better person paid off. I look at him and feel that old twist because that isn't the lesson. I tell him softly that being silent didn't pay off, keeping receipts did, speaking up did. He shrugs. He asks what we're eating for dinner. I write boundaries in my notebook and circle it so hard the pen almost tears the page. I start saying no. It feels weird at first. When someone says, can you send me your raw sheet? I say, it's in the team folder, please use the link. When someone tries to book a meeting to pick my brain, I ask for an agenda. I put my name on the cover slide. I insist on presenting what I build. When I need to take my mom to the doctor, I block my calendar and set an out of office, and I don't apologize for it. If my partner has a ton to say about dinner, I hand him the grocery list. He changes the subject, but he also starts the dishwasher sometimes without me asking. It's tiny, it counts. I want to say I feel totally vindicated. I mostly do. It helped that the director made a point in a big meeting to say this deck was built by my name. Not with help, not with input. Built by, I want to say that my chest unclenched and my sleep came back. It didn't, not right away. I still wake up sometimes at 5 with my jaw tight, and I think about all the times I let someone else make me small because it was easier that day. I think about how he called me a buddy while he reported me for slacking. I think about my mom and the way she says, you're my rock, and then asks if I can call the pharmacy. I think about the dishes. But I'll tell you this. The day HR told me they had enough to act, I took my dog to the park after work and sat on a bench while the sun went down and the sprinklers made a mist over the grass, and for the first time in a long time I felt my shoulders drop. I felt air in my lungs. I thought, I am not crazy. I am not lazy. I am not a doormat. I did the work. He used me to climb and then tried to kick me, and I didn't let him win. A week later I found out that he had updated his LinkedIn to remove the word lead from Phoenix. He posted something vague about growth. He barely looks at me. The funny thing is he still tries little grabs. He'll comment on a thread with a summary of what I wrote pretending he's contributing. He'll ask coy questions like, where are we at with the rollout? Using we that way, but now other people say, ask my name, she owns it. And he has to nod. He has to wait while I talk. I also started mentoring a junior. I told her, share your work, but keep your name on it. I told her if someone takes credit, say something, use simple words, don't make it a fight until you have to, but don't swallow it either. She asked me why I stayed so long in the quiet. I told her the truth, because I'm the oldest kid, because I'm the one who lifts, because I'm tired, because I thought that doing the right thing would mean people did right by me, because it's hard to practice a different script when the old one is carved into your bones. I'm still learning. The other day, someone from another team messaged me, could you just toss me the spreadsheet you use for metrics? I felt my shoulders tense. I said, I can share the published version next week after I present. You're welcome to use it after that. He wrote back, thanks. Then, by the way, huge fan of how you handled Phoenix. It took me a second to believe he meant it. I'm not used to people seeing me. And if you're wondering, yes, I saved screenshots. I saved the apology email. I saved the Slack where a friend messaged me. He told me last month he was going to report you so he could look like he was keeping standards high. In case anyone tries to rewrite this story later, I have my copy. I don't want to use it. I hope I never have to, but I have it. Do I wish it had gone differently? I wish I had been loud earlier. I wish I had said in front of everyone I wrote that. I wish I had said, don't remove me from this call. I wish I had named the things that were happening, but the point is I did it. I drew a line and said, this is mine. I said, do not talk to me, go through HR. I said no, and the sky did not fall, the world did not end. The dog still needed walking. The dishes still needed washing. My mom still needed a ride, but the load got a little lighter where it mattered on me. If you've read this far and you're thinking about that person in your office who smiles while taking what you did and then tells you to work on your brand, I'll tell you this, leave fingerprints. Keep receipts. Say your name. You don't need to be mean. You don't need to yell, but you do need to refuse to be erased. And if they try to report you for slacking while they stand on your shoulders, make sure you've got a trail that shows every step you took. The day HR closed the case, they sent me a message that said, we have concluded our investigation and taken appropriate action. They never say more than that. But the next all hands, the director said, we're piloting a new policy on shared credit, and my chat lit up with little hearts. It won't fix everything. It won't make slacks like me suddenly shout. But it's something. It's a start. And I finally took that week off. I turned off my work phone. I didn't check my email. I made pancakes for my mom, and we ate them in that quiet, sunny way where you don't talk much, but it feels safe. I took my dog on a long, silly walk. I came home and lay on the floor and listened to the ceiling fan click. My partner asked after a day, do you want to watch that show? And I surprised myself by saying, not right now, I'm reading. He looked at me like I had spoken a different language. Then he nodded and he cooked dinner. Maybe he is learning too. When I went back to work, I opened my laptop and there was an email from a client. Thank you, my name, for seeing this through. No middleman, no translator, just my name. I sat there and looked at it for a long time. Then I got up and poured coffee and came back and did the work, my work. And when it came time to present, I moved my mouse, unmuted my mic and said, hi, I'm my name. I built this. Let me walk you through. And I did. And when I finished, someone said, great job, and someone else said, as always. And then we ended the call and I wrote in my notebook in a new pen. I said it out loud.